guys, okay, welcome back to the letter. Let's continue on with Ashton's chapter here.
This isn't...
Frey, am I understood?
What else can I do other than smile and nod? With my own superior expecting an answer, using that tone, brushing my questions off as easy as discarding a dead body.
Yes. Yes, sir.
He gets the line as soon as the words are out. You're off the case, Frey. Just like that. Funny why this still caught me off guard. Alright, what do we got? So this is Saturday. We're actually towards the end of the week here. Ashton Frey received a phone call from the chief of Luxborn Police first thing in the morning, informing him that he had been taken off the Luxborn firm case. Although his protests fell on deaf ears, this sudden turn of events proved a hunch. I've discovered years ago how different the actual thing is. How far from reality everything I've believed in as a dreamy-eyed kid. There are no high-speed pursuits every day, no thrilling gunfights, or exciting cases every step of the way. Only paperwork, lots of red tape, and dealing with the politics and bureaucracy. I've set out to change things, hoping it'll make things better for the people that I care about. It ended up changing me instead. Serves me right for being too idealistic, I guess. This is probably the universe telling me it's better to remain the skeptic I really am. Now, here I am, standing useless. Can't even do anything but grit my teeth and kick the wall. The bastard didn't even acknowledge my response.
What did the poor wall ever do to you?
Figures Rebecca will be the one to find me in this embarrassing state. Honestly, I don't like it when she sees me like this, which seems to happen a lot regardless of what I want.
Rebecca, now's not a good time.
The concern I expect from her when I turn isn't there, however. Instead, she just looks, well, the storm I left brewing last night. It's right there in her face, ready to be unleashed.
When is it ever a good time for you? You're always so busy with everything now. Now I find you here, sneaking out without even bothering with a proper goodbye. Not even a word.
This might be the last time they ever saw each other as well. Ugh, the feels.
Really, I'm starting to think you're just keeping me around for my couch and my cooking.
Becca, it's not what you're thinking. I wasn't planning on sneaking out. I was going to say goodbye. I just had to take this call. Although, I'm not gonna lie, couch is great. 10 out of 10. Would sleep again.
Stop it with the jokes, Ashton. I'm not in the mood.
Her bitterness is not lost on me, but at this point in our friendship, in our lives, how does she still expect me to answer that? What am I supposed to tell her now?
Are you still mad about last night?
She merely raises an eyebrow at me, which, to be honest, is all the response I need. Seeing her like this makes me believe those things Z-Man says, the part where Rebecca scares him. Sometimes. I've certainly seen this more than once already, but the familiarity of it doesn't really take away from the downhill turn this conversation's starting to take. Only an awkward cough serves as a way to stall.
Okay, of course you're still mad. But whatever happened last night, I really am sorry. I'll apologize as many times as you want.
It's not how apologies work, Ashton.
If you want, I'd even kneel or something.
Ashton, an apology is nice and all, but that's not what I wanted to hear from you today.
Alright, fine, okay. Where do you want to start?
First you have to acknowledge what you did wrong, which apparently you don't even know, so yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I've honestly lost track of it by your third trip to the buffet table.
I wasn't... The drive up there took a bit. Can you blame me if I wanted to grab some appetizers?
Oh, come on, Ash. For the whole evening? For the whole party? Please don't tell me that's all you did, because I've never known you as someone who pigs out. You even took great lengths to avoid me. Should I also mention how you ignored Zach? Sometimes I get the feeling you don't want to be seen with us in public. Some friendship, huh?
You know it's not like that. It's never going to be like that, Becca.
Maybe you even just used me to get into the party.
Uh-oh.
You said yes to being my +1, but you were rather excited to just peel yourself off, weren't you? Honestly, I'm feeling a bit used.
I couldn't even look her in the eye. It wasn't that I lied to her. I honestly wanted to be there, to keep Zach safe, to keep Rebecca safe. Just in case. Client or family friend, it was still a party hosted by a person of interest, by a man accused years ago of murdering a person's wife to get what he wanted. Really? Luke is accused of murder. But then Chief showed up, Hannah Wright happened, and Luke Wright just couldn't be bothered to die peacefully somewhere. All of a sudden, none of my original reasons mattered. If I was found out right then and there, hell, if Zach and Rebecca's connection with me was found out, who knows what might have happened. But Rebecca doesn't understand that. Doesn't understand what I can and can't say to keep them from harm. It's all in her eyes, in the tight line of her lips and her furrowed brows. The hurt.
I'll ask this again. Just what were you up to during the party? What were you doing? That you couldn't even take 2 seconds to make time for your friends?
This day is just off to a wonderful start. First, my case, now Becca. How do I even go about this? Stretch the truth, insistence confidential. No, she does not want any of this. You have to stretch the truth. Obviously, I couldn't just say, hey Becca, you know the rights? They're suspected to be ringleaders of a crime syndicate and shit like that. Oh, jeez, it went down even lower. Oh, well. Protocol or otherwise, there are so many things I'm not allowed to tell the others. Even if I'm able to share information with civilians, not knowing anything could very well put them in danger. That's why I keep it vague, obscure the facts, or when push comes to shove, stretch the truth and lie through my teeth. It's a necessity I've grown to deal with. It's already become part of me, no matter how much I loathe doing it. I guess she saw through us.
I mentioned it, didn't I? I saw an old friend and I thought I'd catch up. Didn't really notice how long our chat got. You know what they say about time flying when you're having fun, and Lloyd is a fun guy.
She doesn't look convinced at all. Although she's the very picture of someone who's at least willing to listen, her glare effectively takes a good 20 off my current years. I feel like a kid again, being reprimanded by my junior high school teacher for sleeping in class. But getting away with that is easier than with this one. It's the thing with someone you've been friends with for so long. They're the ones who know you inside out. Good grades wouldn't be enough for Rebecca to let this whole thing slide.
So, this Lloyd is a friend of yours who was at the party?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we go way back in the police academy. Though you wouldn't have met him. See, he mostly deals with teenagers and gets into a lot of messy stuff and...
Cut the shite.
If I knew Ash was a better liar, then I would have been more convinced I made the right choice.
You're not a very good storyteller, Ash. Don't try to make up a character just so that you can lie to me.
Why did I ever think this was a good idea? Although I'm not making these people up, only twisting the facts. For someone who's already angry beyond reason, everything will sound like an excuse.
I'm not making stuff up. I did have a college mate named Lloyd. I think you would have liked him. You're both Scottish. He used to hang out a lot with Joey and Rashid, but they went off to work in London. Bunch of good guys. I should really ask if they're swinging by Lux anytime soon.
That doesn't make things any better. You were there because I invited you. And you just up and turned your nose from me. You might as well have disappeared completely for all you cared. Just say you don't want to talk about it instead of lying to my face.
Shit. You're right, I'm sorry. That was a poor decision. I do feel guilty, still. We've already been down this road. This is something I've done so repeatedly in the past. Something she's heard from me more than times that I can count on all my fingers. Something I'll just have to get over with at this moment.
I'm sorry, you know that, Becca. I really, really am. I wouldn't do this shit if I didn't have a good reason to.
And you know that I don't like you lying to me. If you can't tell the truth, just don't say anything and shut your gob. I swear, Ashton Frey, you are just so dense.
Jeez, the fury of 1,000 suns.
I'm so angry. I can't even bear to look at you right now because I swear I'll knock you right off your block.
Even worse when you deserve it.
I mean, what good reason could you have to act like an antisocial asshole? The only time you did talk to me was to rail on me about Luke. What was that all about? Were you somehow expecting me to just accept everything as it is?
You really shouldn't go near that man, Becca.
Why? Because you don't trust him? I wonder if you actually trust anyone. Aside from the three of us, Zach, Isabella, and myself, do you even have any other friends?
Hey, quality over quantity, Becca.
If you're perfectly fine with that, then go ahead. No one is stopping you. But don't expect me to share the same views. I can have a life of my own. Friends that I don't necessarily share with you. I'm an adult, Ashton. And I can make my own bloody decisions. I sure as hell can choose the people I want to let into my life.
Of course she's allowed to do as she pleases. I never mentioned she couldn't. Us growing up together doesn't mean it always has to be just the two of us. It's a dumb idea to believe in when nothing ever remains constant. Things will inevitably change over through the years. She'll make friends with people outside of our little circle. I'm just as free to form relationships with other people. But why of all people did it have to be him? Why does it have to be Luke Wright? That guy's nothing but trouble. How could she defend a guy like that? She's already calling him Luke for Pete's sake.
I trust Zach, I trust Isabella, and I trust you, Rebecca. So why can't you trust me on this? You need to stay away from that man. Because he's... I really wish I could tell you.
What was that saying that Isabella mentioned before? A liar is a brother of a thief? People who look at me now probably say that I'm a hair's breadth away from being a criminal. Z-Man said something like that once, a few years into our friendship. I laughed it off back then, but now... They're probably right. Little by little, I'm becoming the very person I hate. How ironic. The silence afterwards brings an even heavier air between us. Something that Rebecca thankfully doesn't allow to linger more than necessary.
I suppose you have to go now, huh?
The situation's already awkward as it is. Dragging this out will only make it more... what? Difficult? Messed up? As if it isn't already.
Back to your case again?
I don't really have to. I have no case. As far as the job's concerned, I have the weekend off until I report to the chief on Monday. Although I don't want to just throw in the towel on this. Orders are orders. This isn't like the movies. I don't get to fuck off, throw my gun and badge at him, and become some vigilante, save the day, and get my job back. I'd rather get my ass thrown in my jail than do any of that. But it's also not in my nature to sit still and do nothing. It'll drive me crazy if I just idle about. Besides, there's someone who has to know about this whole Luke Wright thing.
Yeah, I need to go talk to Professor Clark. And there's something else I need to look into.
That other matter she mentioned last night specifically. Things even the news has been blasting out to the general populace lately. Evening, afternoon, morning, all deaths with the same modus, blamed on a single serial killer. Or is it still the case?
Found dead in the early hours of the morning today. The fire was contained within the room and no other tenants were harmed, according to Luxbourne police.
We're grasping at straws as far as these murders are concerned. In the first place, I'm not even the one heading this investigation, yet look at me treating it as if it's another high-profile case on my shoulder. How sad is that? Although all three of my friends have mentioned seeing something strange, I don't want to go into that line of thinking for now. Not yet. Not until I've exhausted every logical argument I could throw at it. To be honest though, I don't know how to take all of this anymore. But I've already given Isabella my word. It'd bother me more if I didn't follow up on a promise I made to her. And after Rebecca's claims last night, there won't be enough sarcasm in the world if what my friends have been telling me is true. I can already hear Isabella's laughter, in fact.
Figures. What else can it be?
It's not another case. It's something else. That issue Isabella mentioned yesterday morning. I'm sure you remember. You were there.
Well, at least you're not neglecting all your friends.
Becca, I promised her I'll...
She doesn't wait for me to finish. With a roll of her eyes, she turns around and shuts the door in my face. Whew. I have no idea what I've said this time, but...
I probably deserve that.
Yep, we do. We'll just have to fix this some other time. By then, her temper's sure to have cooled off significantly. Hopefully. Unfortunately, we know what really happened. Rebecca confronted Ashton about what happened at the party the night before. Unable to tell her any details, the latter chose to stretch the truth. It led to another argument and ended with Rebecca slamming the door closed on him. Great. Hopefully. For now, I can't laze around. Gotta tend to things that matter more. Professor Clark first, deliver the bad news, then that issue with Garcia and Isabella. Maybe I'll also drop by Zach's, check on him, hear what he has to say. He has also read that damn letter. I might as well, while I'm here, playing a paranormal detective? Or was it supernatural? I can't remember. Whatever. Wouldn't hurt anyone if I could try to get to the bottom of this. If nothing comes out of this, good. Everyone can shut up about stupid curses, we can finally get back on track with our lives. On to more important stuff. If there is something...
Are you two done?
There's a moment of confusion when I don't see her familiar ponytail about, only to find her standing behind the door to her apartment seconds later. Isabella holds it open, though only slightly, as if to hide from anyone who might happen to pass by. This early and on a lazy weekend? I doubt anyone would. But from the gap and what little light there is behind her, I could make out the appearance of someone who has just clearly gotten off from bed. Hair in complete disarray, eyes still heavy with sleep, and a small pout on her lips. She hasn't even gotten out of her pajamas. I look away long before my sense of decorum kicks in. We might be friends. I'll even dare say we've grown closer over the years, but that doesn't extend beyond the bounds of propriety. Christ, even Rebecca never greets early visitors in her sleep clothes. Though maybe it's our fault why she's up this early. Still, heat makes a crawl up my neck. One that I quickly downplay with a solid cough.
Isabella, you're up early.
Lame.
No, I'm not. I'm usually up at this hour. You're the one that usually sucks at getting up early.
Says the person who looks like she's just fallen out of bed.
Instead of the usual quip, she simply averts her gaze to some point beside her, and although it only flashes briefly across her face, an expression of hurt flickers in her eyes. It disappears the second she turns her attention back to me, but that moment has sent a worried twinge in my stomach. I've seen it on her plenty of times before, just never in a manner that unsettles. It feels, I don't know, off this time? I didn't say anything wrong, did I?
Hey, are you...
Anyway, was that Becca with you? You both sound like Mama and Papa when they fight. You're awfully loud. If we get another memo from the landlady, I'm asking the guard to ban you from ever entering this place.
Me? Becca's the one almost shouting.
Yeah, well, she lives here. You don't. You have no excuse. You're the suspicious-looking person.
Thanks. Glad at least one person appreciates how I pretty up this place.
Don't flatter yourself. This place would be so much better without having to see your face every few days.
Ouch. She follows it up with another pout. But her ruffled appearance, particularly how puffy her eyes are, I noticed just now, takes away from the intimidating effect she's trying to show. Really, right now, she just looks more like an angry puppy. I might have laughed had it not given me another nagging sense that something is definitely wrong with her. What? Has she been crying earlier? That's worrying. She rarely does that. The only time it happened? The one time I've ever seen her genuinely tear up over something? I think it was after Devlin Court, the night at the bridge. I want to ask. She seems determined to keep it to herself, though.
Belle, did something...
About yesterday, Ash. The things we talked about. Do you think we can take a look at it today?
We? I never said you're coming with me. Don't worry. I didn't forget about it. You'll be the first to know if I find anything.
No, I want to go with you. I'll be ready in a few. This won't take long.
Isabella, you really don't have to. I can handle it on my own. You'll just...
I won't get in the way, I promise. Besides, maybe I can help. You know, if there are files you want to check.
I don't like what she's implying. It's true LPD's having a hard time with this, but taking Isabella with me? It's out of the question. Under normal circumstances.
You're the one who's going to get in trouble if you do that.
You said it yourself. You need information. And I can help you get that. And it's not like it matters anymore. I just don't want to stand around doing nothing today.
There it is again. The slight shift in her eyes, the mild crease forming between her eyebrows, and the mild slump in her shoulders while she crosses her arms tightly around herself. Like she's shielding herself from whatever painful thing there is out there. I have plenty of reasons why I shouldn't let her tag along. First and foremost, she's a civilian. Second, I have no concrete plan of action. Yet, I'm going into this blind. No matter how I look at it, it's simply better for her to just wait so she won't get dragged into what might be another one of my failures. Her assumptions might be a dead end for all we know. But seeing that expression on her, hearing her speak those words out loud in a desperate, almost pleading tone, I can't bring myself to say no. So I give in, because right there, I see myself in her. The person who doesn't want to stay idle, who doesn't want to think of the problems haunting him.
All right. 5 minutes.
What? You're timing me?
Well, I can't wait forever. I'm a very busy guy. 4 minutes and 45 seconds, Isabella.
I hate you so much. I'm taking back what I said last week. You haven't changed at all.
4 minutes and 30 seconds. 29, 28. I'd hurry if I were you.
Ugh, you're awful. I hope you never get a girlfriend.
Oh god. She slams the door right after, although my chuckles, the mirth, and the lightness in it linger. With her, those have always come easy somehow, even as its echoes fade and only the ghost of a smile remains.
It's not like I'm looking for anyone else.
I want to tell her. Ooh, journal updated. I've got lots of journal updates just standing here. Disturbed by the ruckus outside her unit, Isabella reprimanded Ashton for the noise. The latter noted her disheveled appearance and puffy eyes, although before he could ask about it, she brought up the issue with BRC again, and insisted they both look into it that night. So, there's her pajamas. The Yang Mobile logo, I like it. It's not because I can't. I won't. I'm the one who has chosen not to, until I've fixed myself. Until I've found myself underneath all that guilt and all those lies I've been telling over the years. Because no matter how heavy the weight of these feelings are, I'm not yet worthy of them. Of her. Until then, little words and gestures are the only things I can offer. Minor stuff, such as digging deeper into this thing with BRC in order to ease her worries. I'm not even sure if this will give us anything. Unlike with the firm case, which I already have proper leads on. I'm just going by her word on this. Speaking of the Luxborn firm case, I still have to inform their professor. The apprehension's there for sure. I've made a lot of promises to the man, and I would have preferred to tell him in person, not over the phone. But it's better for him to hear it from me rather than from a stranger. The railings offer a steady support while I wait for him to answer. I like to think I can do this without losing my nerve. My grip on those bars surely tightens though, once the call connects.
Ashton,
Not running today, Professor?
He's usually at the park on late Saturday mornings, as long as it's not raining cats and dogs. Keeps him young and healthy, he says, and he's certainly fit for a man of his age with a sedentary job.
oh no, not today.
He's definitely at the usual place though. Cheers and laughter, likely from children and families, filter through the receiver. I tend to avoid the park precisely because of this. No use reminding myself of the could-haves when it's already over. Mom's doing well with her career. Dad's also fine from the last time I visited. Although neither are remarried, they're both content with their lives as is. I'm probably the only one still caught up with it, hence my aversion. But all in all, it's still a pleasant sight to see, if you're the kind who takes joy in such sights like Professor Clark does.
Just thought I'd enjoy the nice weather before it takes a turn for the norm again. And to what do I owe the pleasure?
The guy certainly seems happy right now, in any case. I almost don't want to break the news to him, but it's better to get this off quick, as long as he doesn't shoot the messenger. He's not the type. However, long-held resentment can change a person, even someone as mild-mannered as the professor.
I was hoping to talk to you about the case.
I suppose I'm just a downer today. As soon as I say those words, he pauses and the lightness in his voice is gone in an instant. Every time we've talked about this in the past, he does that. He's probably trying to gauge the situation based on the tone of my voice. Perhaps it's a good thing I'm delivering this news through the phone. Who knows what he'll see in my face and my mannerisms. The art of keen observation, I learned it from the man. Probably already has an idea of what this might be about, from my manner of speaking alone.
You aren't in trouble, are you?
For a second I hesitate, looking at the dirt beneath my shoes. But I manage, eventually. After a long, ragged draw of breath, I pick up where I've left off, though still fumbling with my words.
Well, I'm in a bit of trouble, if you can call it that.
Ashton,
He only assumes that tone when there's a reprimand at his heels.
But I'm not in danger or anything.
you've said that same excuse a million times before, Detective Inspector. That exhausted rasp in your voice tells a different story.
It's nothing like what you're thinking. Don't worry. I was taken off the Luxborn firm case.
I expect anger, frustration, maybe even disappointment. But all he gives me is a small sigh of relief.
Is that so? Well, at least you aren't in danger. Liz wouldn't be too happy if she heard you right now.
Liz. And Liz, she insisted I call her, his late wife. A sweet-tempered young woman by so many standards. They were never blessed with kids, and contented herself with simply managing their bakery. But she's the closest I've had to a mom in a few years I've known her. A professor, too. In the absence of my own parents in my life, the two filled the ache their divorce left in me.
Believe me, you'd get an earful. You don't want to show up on her doorstep looking like you haven't slept a wink either.
How many years has it been since? 9? 10? I can still remember it vividly. Two men, primly dressed, briefcases in hand, and a stern look on each of their faces. They were already frequent visitors to the bakery for a few months, something about the lot being a prime property in downtown Luxborn. I think they were hoping to settle a deal with them, but neither of the couple gave in to their demands. Why should they? That quaint little shop was a dream for them. Aunt Liz sent me home early that night after a fruitless wait for the professor. The next morning, news of a bakery razed to the ground had spread across the whole city. One casualty. A few weeks later, the property was sold to Wright Enterprise. A fucking hotel now stands in its place. Of course, an investigation was launched after the incident. The name Luke Wright was briefly at the center of it, but with the lack of any evidence, the case ultimately went cold. The professor hides it well. However, I can tell he hates the man to this day. He might even blame Luke Wright for every tragedy that happens in the city. He's never blamed me, though, when I'm equally as responsible. I knew something's off the moment the men stepped inside the shop. I could have saved her that night. I could have prevented anything from happening to her. Called for help or whatever. I didn't. So it continues to eat at me until today. The guilt. The Luxborn firm case would have been our chance at reopening that old case if we could prove Luke Wright of his crimes. Instead, we're back at square one. Yet all he has for me are words of comfort. To think he can still be this concerned about me? After my carelessness? After I've broken another promise a second time? People never cease to amaze me.
You might think that you have failed as an officer. Or maybe you think that you have failed me. And you know more than anyone. I would love to see that man taken down. If anyone deserves to be tried in high court, it's him. But I'm glad nothing's happened to you while you were working on this. That's what's most important. I'd hate to get news like that again.
Suddenly he stops. I imagine a thoughtful look flashing in his eyes as he thumbs the wedding band on his ring finger before he continues. Another habit. He's never removed it since that day. He's never once thought to remarry. But even when he managed to continue with his life and return to some semblance of normalcy. It's his way of honoring her, I suppose, when he couldn't bring justice, the man responsible for his loss. Some people are just hard to forget.
It's not like another death. Yours or even his will bring back my wife.
Silence falls between us afterwards. I don't quite know what to say after that, really. Should I apologize? Show some sympathy? Going into this, I should have thought of something other than just breaking the news to him. As it is, it seems the only thing we can do is feel sorry for each other's misfortunes.
I apologize too, for putting you up to this.
On another occasion, under different circumstances, I might have accepted that, but...
You didn't have to, but you've already done more than any officer who has investigated this. So don't worry about this, old man. I know your department's people all have their hands full recently too. What with the upsetting news we've been getting as of late. Deaths almost every day. I'm not entirely sure if that has anything to do with the other. It seems too big even for someone like him. But if this is that man's doing...
Professor, please.
Maybe if things around me hadn't started going beyond my control, the letter, the mansion, the supposed curse behind those, I'd still be quick to blame it all on the bastard too. But as much as I want to keep holding him responsible for it, to add another to his list of sins, it might not be the case. Agreeing will only cut a deeper wound on the professor. I don't want him to keep clinging to this resentment for much longer. He's already gone through so many years of it. This kind of anger, it's the sort that blinds people. Despite his reassurances, the bitterness still seeps into every syllable he utters. It's one thing for me to act like this. It's painful to watch someone I've considered a second father go down this path.
Please don't apologize. It's really all right. I can try to get it back on Monday when I meet with the chief. No promises, but if not, I'll make sure to keep an ear out for any news. Chief said he's passing it on to a senior officer. I should be able to catch a few tidbits every once in a while. But I swear I won't just give up on this. I'll do everything in my power to get Aunt Liz's case reopened for you.
Promises. Again. A bad habit at this point. I wish I could do more for him. All this time, I've prided myself over being the one to always know. Because suddenly, aside from Wright and the murders plaguing the city, I have ghosts and curses to worry about, things that are completely out of my depth. Professor Clark's right in some way. Things would be so much easier if we just blamed Luke Wright for all this. At least finding evidence would be a breeze, and I'll be all too happy to put him in a place he belongs. Although, if he was, in any way, also complicit to what's happening, legalities have my hands tied. But maybe that's my fault. I might have missed the ticket to closing the case once and for all last night. If only I'd done a better job during the party. But then, the commotion. There was Hannah Wright and Rebecca distracting me from my purpose too. And include that gate crasher as well, even though it's only for a moment. So many things have gone wrong last night that...
This isn't a prank! I saw something! See? This is why I didn't want to tell you guys!
He's finally realized
It's not a joke! Will you guys listen to me first? I saw something in the house earlier. It stood right in front of me. If I hadn't gotten away, that thing might have...
last night at the party.
But it's real! What do you think I saw? It happened after, when I was trying to get away. I almost got stuck in the same room with that thing. We're all in danger. I thought you were my friends. Why don't you believe me?
That woman.
Why don't we all calm down first? I'm sure Isabella has her reasons too. No need to be hard on her.
Shit. If that was what Isabella had been warning us about, if it was the same thing Rebecca had talked about last night. Professor Clark's timer reset. How many of these instances have I dismissed since reading the letter? How many have I ignored and passed off as some effect of fatigue or lack of sleep? Even last night, a hallucinogen lacing the food is the first thing I considered, purely because that's what my training dictates. It's a mindset I've grown used to. It's the sending the gears in my head automatically takes in a situation like that. Of course, I'm not discounting all of that just yet until I have enough information, something to form a conclusion from. Proof in whatever for it may come. But thinking straight is impossible when, all of a sudden, all your beliefs are being upturned, in the most violent way possible at that. Jesus, I need a sounding board. I need to talk to someone, and Zach's the best person for that.
I have to go, Professor.
Oh, no problem. But what are you...
I don't have time to stop and listen to what the professor has to say, as I cut the call short. Alright. Like, the third or fourth journal entry here. While waiting for Isabella, Ashton called Professor Andrew Clark to inform him of his dismissal from the Luxborn firm case. While Andrew assured him that it was fine, the detective promised to keep an eye on the case. However, a realization cut the conversation short.